Joining me to unpack it all is Remo Giovanni Abbondandolo, General Manager for MENA at checkout.com. Remo, welcome to Wall Street to MENA.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, first you just got approval now to add issuing to your acquire license here. What does that actually unlock for you?
Well, first of all, allows us to offer to merchants an additional service. We've been offering acquiring solutions since many years in the UAE, and thanks to that, merchants in the same platform, they have the ability to also issue cards. So they don't need to go through the different integration or managing two platform, but the program of issuing combined with acquiring allow them to pre-fund the cards with the acquiring volume, and they don't need to get the burden of reconciliation and liquidity challenge and all the rest that is managing by two different platforms.
Yeah, everything in one platform. Merchants used to pre-fund as well cards separately, as we're saying. What changed once it all become in one place?
The main difference is that the merchants, they don't need to worry about if they have balance on the card on the account to issue the cards, because essentially all the money that we collect from the acquiring will automatically be able to be used on the balance on the checkout business account, which will give the opportunity to them to issue cards, which they obviously can offer to the consumers.
Mm-hmm. You were first also to get an acquire license here in UAE. Why did issuing take so long?
I wouldn't necessarily say it took so long, because we are actually an acquiring platform. So we came here many years ago, and since then we've been offering acquiring solution. Our business has been growing extremely fast. We grew 62% last year. Prior to that, 78%. So it's really about adding additional level of service compared to what we're already offering to our merchants. So making sure that obviously we always focus on enterprise merchants and focusing on performance, while at the same time adding new solutions such as issuing. So actually really pretty much it took the same time for us since the time we applied for the license. It's more about a question about sequencing, I will say, rather than timing. And obviously on the license is the first step, because there's other work to be required in terms of processing the product and processing internal as well.
Yeah. Let's talk numbers also. Remy, your MENA volume grew 62% last year.
That's right.
Yeah. What's driving that?
I would say three main things. So first of all, if you look at the consumer behavior based on the recent research we have done, more than half of the UAE consumers, they say they are spending once per week at least their money online. And 2/3 of the customers that we interviewed, they actually said that next year they plan to spend even more, which essentially means that e-commerce and digital payments definitely are growing. The second point, which I think is really important to highlight, is that 96% of the consumers that we interviewed, they actually demand invisible payments, which means they don't want to see anything related to payments as a barrier. And if you look at some of the data that we have, 60% of the consumers that they're experiencing a false decline on the payment page, they actually decide to abandon the purchase, which essentially is missing revenue for the merchant, and obviously is an additional barrier for the consumer. Last but not least, we can also see there is an increased usage of digital wallets, specifically in the UAE. Like nearly 40% of the consumers, they're actually using digital wallets, not only for the traditional, I will say, day-to-day purchase from food delivery, from retail, or from fashion, but we see an incremental exponential growth when it comes to money remittance as well. The people are using digital wallets to send money back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're seeing that definitely in the UAE. It's growing very much lately. So in the UAE, is the UAE's regulations now actually, do you see it as forward-looking, or what do you think, or didn't maybe catch up yet with the merchants?
Absolutely. I mean, we see that obviously in the UAE specifically has been one of the places where regulation has been forward thinking. We can see a lot of innovation, a lot of changes, not only in terms of payments, but fintech, I will say, in general. And this is why we continue to invest here. And also we see more and more players actually coming to the region, not only to offering like a B2B solution enterprise like checkout, but also like consumers. So it's definitely one of the places where we've been seeing a very good balance between compliance, regulation, and having customer-centric approach, because keeping the trust of the consumer has always been a very important element, not only for us as a merchant, but also for the regulator.
Speaking of people coming here to UAE or get a license as well here, like we're seeing, for example, Revolut, Remitly, everyone's racing to get license here. Is there a room for everyone, or is it getting crowded?
I think it's definitely a great signal to say that, first of all, the UAE is definitely growing. There's good resilience in the market. We can definitely see amazing numbers that, definitely show this growth year over year and quarter over quarter. And at the same time, there is different use case that every single player is actually solving. Some of the merchants that you mentioned actually can potentially be partner of checkout, actually already work with us, because they don't really serve the same consumers and the same, I would say, the same target customer that we do have, because we are enterprise. We focus only on merchants and big enterprise merchants, while many others, of course, they might have their own different segment that they're looking at. So to answer your question, it's definitely a big opportunity for many players. At the same time, it's getting crowded, which means that, you need to solve a specific problem, and just getting the license, it does not necessarily means that, you will get a space in the market.
Yeah. Now, and we talked about it a little bit, you came from a different background, like e-commerce and travel. How does it shape what you build now? Does it teach you maybe some things that you can apply on this scene?
I think shaping me quite a bit, because I've been sitting on the other side of the table. So I definitely know the customer's pain point or the merchant challenges. And, we have 12 operating principles in checkout. The first one is customers first. We solve problem for our merchants and for our customers specifically. And when I was a merchant, specifically when I was in the travel industry, I saw the challenge of pre-finding the cards to issue when I was paying my suppliers. And now they definitely can see that putting everything together in one platform adds a lot of value. It's more solving the equation 1 + 1 = 3. You can still work issuing and acquiring separately, but when you combine them together, there's a lot of efficiency that you can gain.
Yeah, the gaps that you need to work on now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So issuing goes live. What's next on the roadmap for you?
It's a very busy roadmap. So obviously getting the license is the first step. We need to execute everything that obviously needs to be done to make sure that our merchants can start to issue cards. But there's a lot of things that we're doing in checkout. And if I can tell you one thing, definitely we continue to focus on performance, making sure we provide the best acceptance rate in the market by using a lot of AI tools. We introduce intelligence acceptance, which is a product that allows us to decrease the false decline and improve the amount of transactions. So the focus on AI is definitely something that will keep us busy quite a bit.
Yeah, thank you. Focus on AI, so lately in progress. Thank you so much for being here with us, Remo.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.